Hey everyone, welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
Where we're trying to solve the mystery of how Randy Orton miraculously healed from those burns from last week.
It's like that time when Kane unmasked himself and he was all burnt, and the next week he was all fine.
And they shaved the rest of the top of his head too. Remember he had a little bit of hair?
Yeah, that was weird. I'm Jazz.
And I'm Janny.
And we are here to recap Monday Night Raw, the night after the Royal Rumble. And the show opens up with the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. And, you know, he's got his sword in his hand and he's doing his shtick and he's looking like $1,000,000. And he actually kind of goes over the show. He pays respect to Goldberg. He talks about the finisher fest that was their match. And he's quickly interrupted by Edge, right?
Yeah, just as he's about to address the Royal Rumble winner for the men's, because he went through the whole card, right? We hear Edge's music. Edge is in the ring, and Drew kind of continues to talk about how he was amazed by Edge's run, his return. He was there when Edge had to retire. He always considered Edge a mentor, and Edge appreciates the kind words and the comments, but he has to be blunt and ask what's wrong with him, because Edge, after all, is the winner of the Royal Rumble, and he's basically a threat to Drew McIntyre, and Drew says that's what an opportunist would do, and he's not that kind of champion. So a little bit of shade there. But before anything can get heated, Sheamus interrupts, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, Sheamus comes out and, he just kind of tells Edge that Drew isn't the kind of man to be quick to violence. And, and we all know that Sheamus is that type, right? So that was pretty...
Fireface.
Yeah, exactly. Fireface. And I thought it was kind of a foreshadowing or like a warning, essentially. And Edge just kind of, says that, listen, like, whoever I'm going to choose, whether it's you or whether it's Roman, at the end of WrestleMania, I'm going to walk out as champion, right? And Edge basically marches up to the ramp, and he looks back, and something is happening, because now Drew is kind of, very close to the ropes, and he's kind of taunting Edge, and then, unfortunately, he gets a brogue kick.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew this was coming. It was kind of being set up. We were always hoping that they would just stay buddies forever, but looks like Sheamus has turned on Drew. And when we come back from commercial, Charlie is asking Sheamus what's going on, and Sheamus is tired of being known as Drew McIntyre's friend, and he's no longer going to be his friend. In fact, he wants a title opportunity. And for some reason, Drew Gulak is there to hand him his luggage, and Sheamus storms off, probably leaving the Thunderdome.
Poor Drew Gulak. But hey, we do have a match. We have the United States Championship. We have Bobby Lashley versus Riddle. Very, very surprised at the way that it kind of ended. It was not even a clean finish or anything like that. It actually ended in a disqualification. Bobby Lashley, he had Riddle on the Hurt Lock, but I guess on the, how can I say
Between
this?
the ropes?
Between the ropes, exactly. And the
Lashley was in the ring.
Yeah, and
Riddle was on the apron.
The ref was counting, and he just wouldn't let go. And Lashley just snapped, man. Like, he just kind of, he just ignores the ref, and he continues.
Even MVP was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was very surprised. MVP's like, what are you doing? Like, we're going to get in trouble or something like that. And, Lashley was just like, he was incensed. And then they kind of mentioned, like, oh, like, Lashley's really, really pissed off to the road to WrestleMania. So, title does not change hands, and poor Riddle.
Yeah, and MVP does crack a smile at the end of this. And yeah, it wasn't much of a match. They kind of had a bit of action going on between the two, but then it really just went outside, and then that thing happened, and that was it. Yeah. And then we cut to Bad Bunny in a Bugatti driving to the arena. Apparently he's coming back. And we cut back to Matt Riddle, who's being... Oh, sorry, I said his name. Just Riddle is being helped. And he's not sure what happened. He's like, what happened? Who was I wrestling? Someone says Bobby Lashley, and he starts to freak out, and they try to calm him down. So he was clearly knocked out. Yeah. And then we go to a backstage segment with Randy Orton. So he talks about Edge, and he congratulates Edge for winning. And he's kind of upset because he told the world that Edge was gone for good, and he did everything for Edge, right? Like he was saying before, he put him out of his misery so he could go back home to his wife and his family. And after everything that Randy Orton did to him, he goes and does this back to him and win the Royal Rumble instead of Orton. And so Orton kind of says that Edge is not going to main event WrestleMania, and he's not going to have any mercy for him tonight because there is a one-on-one match between Edge and Orton.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a very quick segment backstage with the New Day. Xavier Woods is just really happy that Kofi Kingston is back, and now Kofi's going to be able to have his back against Ali. And, Woods does talk about that he has been outnumbered the past couple of weeks, and he has a losing record against them. And Kofi just talks about how Ali has lost his mind because he's blaming Kofi for his shortcomings and whatever, for Kofi Mania and all that stuff. So they do the whole New Day Rock stuff, and we do have our match. We have Xavier Woods versus Mustafa Ali, and I was kind of expecting this. I was expecting Woods to kind of one-up Mustafa Ali because I didn't think that he would go on a 0-3 hole and actually, not beat a single member of Retribution. The way he won also wasn't the cleanest.
He does have the win on Slapjack, right?
Yes, it's true. But the way that he won also, it was like via roll-up. So it's kind of like, that it's going to be more that's going to be coming into this feud.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much going on, right? Woods is in control early, but then with a little bit of a distraction, Ali takes control. He trash talks Kofi the whole time, and then another distraction happens where T-Bar kind of like saves Ali from a pin. I'm not sure why that wasn't a DQ, but then when Kofi gets involved, all this goes down, and then Woods ends up with a roll-up.
Yeah.
So,
and Ali is incensed. Ali is not happy. You know that he's going to retort somehow, some way next week. And we do see a very, very quick backstage segment with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, who seems to be,
my man,
called up, seems to be confirmed to be called up on Monday Night Raw. He had a great showing tonight. And they're both speaking in Spanish, and that's about it. And right after that, we do have a Miz TV featuring Bad Bunny, and the Miz and John Morrison, they kind of do this thing where they apologize, and they're only apologizing, however, because they kind of want an apology in return, right?
Yeah, they want to clear the air, right? And Bunny doesn't actually apologize, right? But they do kind of start to allude to the fact that it's one of his dreams to be a superstar, and Miz and Morrison are like, well, we can help you with that, and then they kind of like say, if you help us record an album, and it's like, you get Slammies, we get Grammys. And then they do like a little rehearsal, they sing a song, but he doesn't seem very interested. He ends up inviting Damian Priest to the show, and Priest comes down, and he doesn't really say anything. He just starts beating up both of them. And then when we come back from commercial break, it's Priest versus Miz. And starts off pretty great right away because Priest does the most amazing dive from the ring on the outside, hitting both Morrison and Miz. And although Miz gets some upper hand in the match by sending Priest post a shoulder first into the post and taunting Bunny, of course, eventually Priest takes over. He's about to win. Morrison comes in with a distraction, but this lets Miz go for the briefcase, but Bunny grabs the briefcase before Miz can, and then there's a little interaction with Morrison where he gives him back the briefcase, but like hits him with the mic. And while this is going on, Priest is able to pick up the win with the Reckoning.
Yeah, I just loved John Morrison this week because he's just there, like he's like, sprinkling some like words in Spanish here and there. I just thought it was pretty funny. He called him like loco or something like that.
Yes, Morrison is always. I always like Morrison. I'm never mad when he's on TV. He's great.
Yeah, he's just the poor guy's just really wasted. I just feel so bad.
Yeah, 100% agree. He could have been like in the final four of the Royal Rumble, and it would have been legitimate. But it's not what we got.
So we do see a quick video package of Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton, and we are told that actually Alexa Bliss is going to be facing Nikki Cross, her former best friend, so that should be exciting. But now we do have the Hurt Business versus the Lucha House Party, and again, I didn't really expect the Lucha House Party to win this, right? But I was kind of surprised that Cedric Alexander and Shelton were kind of on the same page.
Until the end, right? MVP was saying on commentary that they've like patched things up. Yeah. And although the Lucha House Party do have like some interesting offense with Gran Metalik doing his dives and Lince Dorado going all over the place, it's mostly the Hurt Business kind of in control. Yeah. And they make some big counters toward the end, and then it looks like Shelton's going to pick up the win, right? And it looks like Cedric's going to pick up the win. My bad. And then it's when Shelton just does the tag in and wins with pay dirt. And you can see that Cedric didn't quite like it, but they're kind of okay with it seems. And they retained their tag titles there.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, like Cedric, the way he kind of was behaving, he was like more like, all right, like MVP knows what he's talking about. I still have the title with me, So it seems that they've patched things up, but who knows? He's still very volatile. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So now we are backstage with Asuka and Charlotte Flair. They do have a triple threat number one contenders match for the women's title. But before, they're in gorilla position, and they kind of ask about Lacey Evans and Ric Flair and how they've been a thorn to their sides, and Charlotte just feels really bad because she feels that she's the reason why they have lost the titles, and Asuka just cuts her off, and she's like, I'll speak for myself, and Asuka talks about how she's just sad, like she's not upset. And last night, Asuka was ready, and they talk about they're going to fix their errors. So we do have this triple threat match, and there is an impromptu team of Naomi and Lana. Now, I know that they were a team like maybe a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember that. So
a bit, yeah, it was a thing.
It was nice to kind of see them back, and I really loved the entrance. Like when they did the slide, and Lana actually slid further than Naomi. I thought that was pretty funny.
Lana is the best now.
She is.
I went from absolutely hating her to absolutely loving her. It's crazy. What a change.
Lana number one. But yeah, so
that's true.
What did you think of this match? Because I thought that everyone had a pretty great showing. Even Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, they look really strong. Mandy Rose, again, like her knee strikes and everything like that. Like she's so good.
Oh yeah, the match was good and everyone got to do their thing. It was just a little bit hectic with all the tags because it was like always two superstars at once, and then it would like you would tag in, but you wouldn't get tagged out by your partner. Asuka looked very good and dominant in this match as well. Dana looked good, Mandy as well. Lana even had some good offense. Naomi was on fire, and then what really happened was when Charlotte was in control and possibly going to win the match, Ric Flair's music hits, and
classic.
This time Charlotte is kind of like just like annoyed to the point where she just tags Asuka in and leaves and like goes through the stage, and this is what I don't like. I'm like, Asuka gets in the ring, she still looks confused, and she gets hit with the rear view, and Naomi picks up the win. So it's great that Lana and Naomi got this opportunity, but like at Asuka's expense, like come on. Felt a little bad there.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, this is, strike two, right? Like, Asuka is probably going to be really pissed off. Asuka, yes, was distracted, but why is it that the face always has to act stupid and look stupid and be like, huh? Like, what happened? Like, do they suddenly forget that there's a match going on? Anyways, but now we do have a new number one contender. We have Lana and Naomi. Should be really exciting to see. Again, like, knowing the history between Lana and also Shania, I think that should be interesting. Now, this backstage interview with Charlie Caruso and Drew McIntyre was phenomenal. Drew McIntyre, just like he was on the brink of tears. He was so emotional, and it was believable because the moment that he talked about how, like he kind of looks in the camera and he tells Sheamus, he's like, "Are you really gonna throw 20 years of friendship for this?" Fine, all right, cool, you have a match. But he talks about how they go to this new country where like they're foreign, they spend Christmas together because because they didn't have anyone to spend it with. It really meant something, man. And like he looked visibly upset, and he sold it super well. So again, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus seems to be the next feud.
Totally. Great promo, full of emotion. Already invested in this match. I mean, I don't expect Sheamus to win, but they're going to put on a good show. Sheamus has been on fire lately, so like very excited about it. But moving on, we have a tag team match, and it's not the Hardy Bros. Jeff Hardy has a new partner. It's Carlito, and he's up against Elias and Jackson Ryko.
Mr. Caribbean Cool himself.
He is so cool. He didn't come out with an apple today, though. Like he came out with the apple at the Royal Rumble, but not on Raw, which was interesting. I guess he can't be spitting in people's faces now with the pandemic and everything. So,
or maybe someone ate all the apples in catering. I don't know.
How dare they?
But dude, he weighs 240 pounds.
He's jacked, yeah, because he wasn't that jacked when he was in his original run.
Yeah, it was insane, man. But dude, it was really nice to see Carlito. It was a basic run-of-the-mill tag team match. Like there was nothing, I gotta just jaw dropping or whatever. It was a really good match. We get to see Jeff Hardy doing his normal shtick. I'm not a fan of Riker. I'm really trying to give him a chance. I'm not feeling it.
He's a cool looking guy, but yeah,
he is. I mean, like he's throwing Hardy around, and he like, but I don't know. It's just I'm not feeling it. But the way that the match finished was really entertaining. Though we have Carlito who nails the backstabber, tags in Hardy. Hardy goes up and hits the swanton. But yeah,
on Elias, right? Well, because Carlito goes to take out Riker so that he can't break the pin.
Yeah, exactly. So now we have a really, really good backstage promo with Edge. He kind of runs down this black cloud that's hanging over his head and his family's head. He actually points out Randy Orton's knee injury, right? Where he got to sit out most of the Royal Rumble. I thought that was pretty funny. Where
the classic bait and switch.
Exactly, considering that Edge, started at number 1 and he went he also went bell to bell. So it was kind of cheap of Randy Orton to come out at the end, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, and it didn't work out for Randy Orton because he still ended up getting thwarted by Edge.
Yeah.
But yeah, Edge talks about the black cloud and he has to put it behind him in the rear view because he's going to WrestleMania. So this is basically the night where it ends, and he mentions that Orton can say all those things, that he's doing it for Edge and he's looking out for Edge because they're brothers, but it's really because Orton is jealous, and it hurts him deep down in his soul that he's jealous of Edge. And so Edge is going to end things tonight so he can look forward to WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of Edge, there's a very, very quick backstage segment where he's walking backstage and he sees Damian Priest, and this is the biggest show of respect. He walks up to him, he congratulates him on how well he did last night, eliminating Kane and all that, shakes his hand, and I believe he says something along the lines of, "We need people like you," or something like that.
Yeah, we need more people like you.
Yeah, exactly. So
vibes of like the Undertaker John Cena interaction when John Cena debuted.
Exactly.
Who knows? Maybe Damian Priest will be the next John Cena. I'm down.
He looks
Damian
like a star.
Priest, strap the rocket on him, brother.
To the moon.
To the moon.
Diamonds, like all that kind of stuff.
Like those GME shares.
Exactly.
So we have Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross, and I still can't get over Nikki Cross's new theme song, to be honest.
It was weird. But I missed the old one, to be honest with you.
It was so good. But yeah, Nikki Cross is kind of like trash talking Alexa's, like, "What do you want from me? I thought this was over," and stuff. And she has an aggressive start with Alexa, and she's constantly beating down Alexa, but eventually Alexa starts fighting back. She's kind of enjoying the whole thing, taking a beating, and she keeps pushing Nikki down, smashing her into the mat. She even plays hopscotch at one point, and Nikki again tries to fight back, but Alexa does a transformation, and she transforms into the original Alexa Bliss, which confuses Nikki, but Nikki tries to charge at her and continue fighting. Alexa then transforms back into her Funhouse version and hits a modified Sister Abigail for the win here. It's not exactly.
It looked good, though.
She hooked the arm over under the head, behind the head, and it looked really nice. It almost looked like a DDT instead.
Yeah, exactly.
And while she's heading back to the backstage area, Randy Orton's music hits because our main event is coming up, and they have an interesting interaction where Randy Orton just kind of ignores her completely while she looks at him. And he's also not burned anymore. We noticed that at the Royal Rumble. Like that was interesting. He healed miraculously, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we do have our main event. We have Randy Orton versus Edge. I did like that interaction between him and Alexa Bliss, and I was like, it feels like there might be something happening.
Some foreshadowing there, yeah.
Exactly. So, man, they put on a great match. This was not the greatest wrestling match of all time. Like their previous match.
It was a nice shorter condensed version of that though.
Exactly. And Randy Orton before the break and even when we come back from the break was still in control. He was in control for a good portion of the match.
I mean, Edge had a great start. He wanted to rush through it. He tried to end the match quickly. He puts on his submission that he's been using recently. He tries to go for a spear early, but Orton gets the power slam. But Edge does his execution and Edge-o-matic and stuff. Mm-hmm. So Edge does have some offense, but yeah, Orton is able to take the action outside and send Edge into the stairs, and that's when he's like fully in control. And Edge is just trying to create separation, and it's not quite enough. But Orton gets the thump of the eye as well, and then drops him onto the table on the outside.
Yeah, and I remember at one point where he basically like nearly decapitated Edge. You know, he slammed his surgically repaired neck into the bottom rope, and the way the Edge sold it, I was like, oh man, like did he actually hurt his neck? Edge, man, he's he's doing such an incredible job. Like you realize after so long that he's been gone that like he can sell, he can talk, he can wrestle, the full package, man.
Absolutely, and that was the finish really because he did like he lifted him up into the bottom rope and then he hit him with the draping DDT. And Orton's ready to put the final nail in the coffin, and he's going for the RKO. But what happens? Alexa Bliss magically appears sitting on the ring post, and there's like black goop coming out of her mouth. And Orton seems confused, and then we see that Edge is able to recover and hit him with the spear and win. And Alexa Bliss is just nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, exactly. So Edge is not afraid of Alexa Bliss.
I don't even think he noticed she was there.
No, exactly.
Because she really wasn't. Like, the way the camera cut, like, you saw Orton and Alexa, then he hit the spear. Alexa wasn't there, and, like, the camera wasn't really showing her. Absolutely. And then Edge, like, ran out of the ring immediately after his win, and that was kind of the end of the show. Like, there wasn't much celebrating going on.
No, exactly. It was weird because it's that problem where they need to finish by 11 p.m. Eastern. So commentary legit was, oh my God, it's Alexa Bliss. And Randy Orton is like, oh, shocked that Alexa Bliss is there. Oh, there's some weird goop coming. Spear. Edge wins. That's it. Show ends. So it's like they did not even let the commentary breathe a bit and kind of just go over the whole sequence. That was the one weak part of the main event. Now the storyline clearly it's going through the Fiend. So the Fiend is going to come back eventually, or maybe Bray Wyatt in another form. We don't know, but they're going to be facing Randy Orton. So it seems that Randy Orton Edge is kind of done for the time being. So I was clearly wrong. I don't think that Randy Orton is going to win the title and face Edge at WrestleMania. I'm really happy I'm wrong.
That was certainly something that could have been going down. I think they changed it last minute or something because it does feel like that's over. It does feel like we're going to get Randy Orton versus The Fiend at WrestleMania.
Exactly.
I kind of still feel like we might get Edge versus Roman Reigns instead of Drew.
Too. I think so too.
But it really depends.
I mean, they did confirm. I was gonna ask you, since we finished our recap, I was gonna ask you if you heard that Edge is going to be on Friday Night SmackDown. It's confirmed. By WWE. So I was gonna ask you, obviously, what do you think of a possible WrestleMania matchup of Spear versus Spear, Edge versus Roman Reigns?
I think it's gonna be great, and like I said at the Royal Rumble, I'm hoping that Christian comes back and we have a nice tag match at Fastlane or something, so that ENC can reunite. The Usos have been like MIA. What happened to Jay? He like threatened little Nate, and then he was never seen again. So I think that's
Little Nate got some power. But yeah, if we go back to Raw, I have to say that this was actually a pretty decent episode of Monday Night Raw. It actually went by fast in a weird way. I did think that the team of Naomi and Lana, there's a lot of potential there. Very entertaining. Really impressed with what we see with the Super Sexy Muscle Friends. Damian Priest looked like a star as well. I think that was an awesome showing from him. Honestly, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, although we've definitely seen it before, I think just the acting from Drew McIntyre definitely elevated the feud and actually made me care for it. So, and again, Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss, I thought that was a very clever way of closing the chapter for now. Let's just say for now, between Randy Orton and Edge. But yeah, overall, I thought this was a really good episode of Raw. Give it a 7.
Yeah, I agree. It was pretty solid. The stuff that mattered was really good, like the Drew McIntyre Sheamus storyline. Mm-hmm. Asuka and Charlotte seemed to be like like it's going to be the feud for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. That was good. Miss TV was totally fine, and seeing Damian Priest make an impressive showing was also great. The Alexa Bliss stuff is interesting as always, and it just keeps continuing. I mean, I feel like they're stalling a bit. They got to do something different now. I'm hoping for. The only negatives were maybe Lashley Riddle, really just I like that we're gonna have a more intense Lashley, but it just felt like an afterthought. And even the tag match with the Hurt Business didn't feel so great. Carlito coming back was great, but it felt like a nothing match, even though he did have beef with Elias after the Royal Rumble because he eliminated him. Those were the negatives there. Lana and Naomi is gonna be a cool tag team to go for the titles, I think as well.
Yeah, so this is great, man. We haven't been positive on Raw in a while, so I'm happy to hear that the road to WrestleMania it's kind of working. It's making them work really hard. If you guys do enjoy our content, please make sure to like our video and subscribe. The buttons are down below, and right below our heads, you'll see the Wrestling Experience. So you'll see the Instagram link and the Twitter link. So make sure to follow us there as well. Thank you so much for the support as well. We've been getting a lot of followers on Twitter, so that's really nice to see. And hey, we'll see you guys in the next one for our SmackDown recap.
Yeah, and tell us who you think Edge is going to face at WrestleMania.
Ooh, exactly. I
Maybe he'll go to
honestly,
NXT and face Finn Balor.
oh god,
Nobody's
no.
talking about that, but you never know.
I mean, to be honest with you, NXT was not even a part of anything. It wasn't like last year. You know what I mean? With like Charlotte and Rhea.
Well, Charlotte went to NXT last year. Like, she didn't have to, so.
That's true.
And she did the same thing.
You are absolutely correct. So
you never know.
I'm gonna say Roman.
Me too.